Did you hear me? Are you listening?
Find more people to bring on the show. Are you listening to me? Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 542 of the Dead Robot Society. I'm Terry Mixon. Join me, Paul E. Cooley. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing just dandy. I'm probably a little sunburned, which is probably a good thing. It's that vitamin D stuff. They tell us you're not supposed to go out in the sun, but the sun provides the best version of, or the best portion of vitamin D that your body can get to have calcium. But then you have a vitamin D deficiency, but you can't go outside because your skin will burn and you get skin cancer.
Life is a series of trade-offs.
I'm beginning to think they're all insane.
I'm still trying to figure out if eggs are good for you or bad for you. I haven't really figured this out yet.
Things are okay. I've got a mound of work, a very, very high pile of earth to move this week, but I think I'm ready for it. I've been plinkering around. Well, not plinkering. I've been working on Trident some more. Terry, you'd be so proud. Every time I sit down, another idea jumps up and bites me, and then gets incorporated. And every time it happens, I think Terry will be so pleased.
Yay!
And then he'll be so disappointed when I cut some of the zanier stuff.
Doesn't matter. The fact that you did it all is satisfaction, right there.
So I'm actually really interested in trying to finish that book as quickly as possible over anything else because I want to write it. People want to read it, so it won't make me much money, but fuck it. I need to get this one done. So as long as I keep bringing in the money through the software, I'll be all right for a while. But I got to get back to something I can sell. But first, I gotta clear my own decks.
Got to clear your own decks.
Yeah,
that makes total sense to me.
I thought you might understand that. So, but there's a whole lot of stuff to write. A whole lot of stuff I want to write. I just have got to get back into my groove. But whenever I want to get back in the groove or have time to get in the groove, then it's there. So I'm pleased.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
As for me, audio for Race to Terra is submitted to Audible, ACX, and now we start the 3-week or thereabouts clock of waiting for them to finish going through and get everything approved. So a new audio book coming out. That's going to be good.
Yet another one from Mr. Mixon.
More money in my pocket and Veronica's. I know that she will be pleased.
I'm sure she will.
I wrote this morning. It's been hit or miss writing wise over the last couple of days, but using the new process, I've still managed to get between 2,500 and 3,500 words a day. So I can't complain.
No. Well, you could.
I think I got to like 3,200 this morning, and I started writing a little after 10 o'clock and was done by noon. So I can't complain.
Well, okay then.
Now, when I'm going on this flight, I'm going to be rereading the first like 17 chapters that I wrote because, hey, I've got the time. I'm going to be, stuck with me and my iPad. I might as well.
So you're just going to preemptively go through and start an edit, so to speak?
The way I had started writing this book, I just wrote it out and then put the chapters up on Patreon. I didn't go back and reread them and add in some of the details that I normally add in. And then starting about chapter 18, I started using Dragon again, and I'm forced to go back through because some of the things don't make sense. And I figure if I just go ahead and reread the first 17 chapters that I've written, that by the time I get to the end of this book, basically I'll finish the book, send it off to the copy editor.
Gotcha.
It's not going to be a whole lot of other thing going on. I won't have to spend a separate pass to go back through it again.
I had to go back through Derelict, and I actually had to fire up Archivos last night and start making notes because I couldn't remember. We're to that point now where it's like I need so many crates of this, so many crates of that. I need to keep their inventory at a minimum. What did they find? What can they use it for? How can I keep them from using it? So I need to know what they found and put all that in there. Well, I never would have remembered I needed to do all that shit if I hadn't come back and read some of it.
Yeah. That's important. I keep bringing up OneNote and adding little bits of information of what I'm doing to people that's important, and referencing back to say, okay, who the hell was this person again?
Who were they, and what am I doing with them again?
It's only been like almost 2 years since I wrote the last book in this series.
Has it really been that long?
I think it has.
Holy shit.
Maybe. I think I wrapped it up at the end of 2017, so maybe only a year and a half, but it's been long enough to where I don't remember some of these people. Even though I read the last 2 books in the series before I started writing this one and made notes to myself, I still don't remember these people.
Oh, that's a bad sign.
Well, it's always the secondary characters. Who's the assistants for the Secretary of State? I have no idea. Let me go look.
All right, you're looking at your Evernotes for that?
I'm looking at OneNote for that.
OneNote, whatever it is. OneNote, yeah. Well, I think Archivos is going to save my bacon with Trident, because I'm putting all the stuff, other stuff from Destruction and some of the other details in there, and then I'm also going to have to go do that for the Black before I write Extinction. So stuff to do, stuff to keep organized and going.
Now, of course, to do all this writing and reading stuff on the plane, I can't use Microsoft Word because it requires you to be online for that.
Don't.
That's stupid. So instead, I'll be firing up Scrivener.
Gotcha.
I've already copied and pasted the chapters in there, and I'll just have to export them back out when I'm done.
Yep. Well, if you have a Dropbox account, you can have Scrivener just sync with Dropbox.
And I will, and that's the way it works. The part where I'm on the plane flight is where that's going to be necessary, that I can do things without it. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is Dragon behaves differently inside of Word and inside of Scrivener. I've got it set up to where it dumps out the words that I'm dictating into Scrivener just like it does into Word. But Word, it seems to know the names of what I'm doing, like the character names, whereas Scrivener, it doesn't. And I haven't quite figured out why it's any different. It's the same program, but it's different.
I have no clue. Probably Scrivener's audio support is not where it needs to be. Either that, or
I don't know that it has any audio support.
I know it has. Well, if you use operating system dictation, right? So what I'm saying is that basically it may not be adding stuff to the local dictionary based on how many times it sees it. Maybe Word is. In
Word, if I correct something, Dragon remembers it. If I correct the way that it's writing out a name, when I use the name again, it'll use the correct spelling. Like the name Kruger, for example. There are multiple spellings that are correct for that name. The character has a specific one. Once I fix it, it's correct inside of Word. The Dragon gets it right the next time. Okay. Not so in Scrivener. If I get it keeps giving me the wrong stuff. So I didn't expect that. And that's something that I have to keep in mind.
Well, that's probably also because Word is communicating with Dragon's dictionary and vice versa, whereas in Scrivener it is not. So,
of course, on my PC, I'm using the beta version of Scrivener.
Ah.
I've never tried. I've bought version 1 of Scrivener for Windows, and I have that installed. But I'm using the version 3 beta because it writes. I have to have it because the output files on the Mac side and the Windows side, that's the only way that I can have them be the same.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, Windows uses a different kind of output file than the Mac version of Scrivener.
Of course. Because why couldn't anything be, unified?
It's because it's a Mac program. I understand that. And they're catching up in Windows. And the program, I've got good things to say about it. Even when I was just using it to type it out, it's got a lot of functionality to it. It's just something that I don't utilize all the functionality.
Yep.
Word is perfect for me because literally when I'm dictating out the novel, it's just whatever comes out of my mouth, I want it written down, and then I'll go back and I'll do a pass on it.
Whatever works, man.
And God knows the spell checking is better in Word than it is in Scrivener. Holy cow.
Spell check? What's that?
Apparently they don't know yet.
You need spell check? I think the problem is you still need to learn how to type.
See, the weird thing about using Dragon to write is it puts everything correctly spelled. And you're like, okay, that's a good word. It's not the one I wanted there, but it's a good word. Spell check is useless when going through Dragon, other than maybe checking to see if maybe you need a comma here or there.
Right. Yeah.
You actually have to. The way that it works is I dictate it out, then I'll go back and I'll make a pass through, changing, adding, doing things. Then I'll run spell check to catch all the spelling mistakes that I've introduced into the whole process. And there's more than you would, consider likely.
99 bugs in the board. 99 bugs in the board. Take one down, fix it around. 120 bugs in the board.
Yeah, pretty much that's the way it works. I apparently can't spell.
Well, at least we have it admitted now. We have it in
But as this intro may show you folks, we like squirrels. We just dodge around looking at squirrels.
Too many squirrels.
Today's episode, we're going to go ahead and talk about story arcs and squirrels. So you're welcome.
What the hell are we going to talk about, man?
I think we should go ahead and tag up on something that we touched upon a couple of weeks ago.
Uh-oh.
Where we were talking about story arcs and what things were possible for a story that you start and what things are out of bounds based on the story that you're writing.
Oh, no. Is this where we're trying to keep the dinosaur from ripping through the bulkheads and eating everybody when they're out in space and there's never been any discussion of space dinosaurs and there's kind of an issue?
We didn't actually discuss that one, but that's a great example.
Damn, I'm good. It's like everything's all serious and sci-fi, and suddenly George Washington shows up for no fucking reason. It's like, what? Who? These like people better be high as shit.
Bill and Ted playing through.
Yeah, Bill and Ted playing through. Well, you can do that though. If the book is targeted that way,
and actually start that episode.
Can we just start that fucking episode?
Only if we want to start on a rant. Fine, we'll start on a rant. This is Paul's ugly rant about dinosaurs in space.
Look, I already got dinged. I think we lost a patron for my comment about Bigfoot erotica. I don't know what's going on. I have to watch what I say these days.
This has never been true. Paul has never, ever had to watch what he says, and he will never do
so. I saw that comment and went, oh, God. What did I start now? Hey, you just get you hater.
Let me lay this out for the listeners.
You're gonna say late right after Bigfoot erotica. Okay, go ahead.
Boy, your mind is in the gutter.
It's been that kind of day, man. Go ahead.
Pervy guy.
Pervy. Go.
If you start writing a horror novel and towards the end of the book, you start aiming for a romance ending, it's not going to go over well with the readers because that ending is out of bounds for the story that you were telling. And I mean, when I say romance, I mean happy ever after. That is not the kind of story you're talking about. If you're writing a Tom Clancy book with a modern day thriller, cyber terrorist, whatever you want to call it, and suddenly a magic portal opens up and spews out elves and dwarves, you have exceeded where you can actually go in that plot and still keep your readers.
You know what that tells me? That's the writer has just said, fuck it. I'm tired of this story. Fuck it. That's what that is.
Each story has a scope. And that's the words we used the last time around.
Scope. All right,
we're
getting dangerously close to corporate speak. I'm just warning you right now.
Think about it in programming terms. I have things that are out of scope.
Yes.
That's a real thing.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us, Mr. Programmer, what is out of scope?
Out of scope is essentially a variable or a method that you cannot get to because it is somewhere else. So when you try and get to it, it throws a null pointer exception and the program crashes. Quite often.
That's your novel.
Yeah.
Don't make your novel crash.
Don't reach for something that shouldn't be there. Actually, in programming terms, it is like reaching into the memory cloud thinking you're going to grab a word. And what comes back instead is not a word.
It's something completely random. You have no idea what it's going to be.
Exactly. We have no idea what it is. That is likely to crash. Depending. So at least in the old days. So undisciplined C programmers, bad things happen. So yeah, there is a place where you can do those things, but the novel or the story has to allow for it kind of early on. You have to give them the hint.
You've got to set the world up. You've got to set. If you're writing a Harry Potter-esque type of book, magic is implicit in that. That's always within the scope if that's what you're doing. But if they did Harry Potter and you went through half the book before you ever found out that magic was real and Hogwarts was out there, and it was some weird, spooky, supernatural thriller up until halfway through, how would that have worked?
Not very well.
I'm thinking not very well. People are going to develop their expectations of what they see in your world based on the very beginning. The first couple of chapters are going to set the stage for what's going on. And as the plot goes on, let me backtrack. I like to think of stories this way. When you're playing golf, not that I play golf, mind you, but when you're playing golf, you've got the ball on the tee. You line up the shot, you swing your club back, and then you hit the ball. The backswing is the arc of the story that happens before you type that first word. When the club strikes the ball, the momentum of the story that is coming is what drives the ball in the trajectory that it's going. If that ball, you hit that golf ball and it's flying through the air and it suddenly just drops like a rock and hits the ground, everybody on the green is going to go, what the hell just happened there? Did it hit a bird? It can't hit a bird, can it? Don't make your story that way.
Okay, so I probably used this example last time, and then I'm going to ask you a question before we continue.
Okay.
But I think last time I mentioned this. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, perfect example of setting up a world so that everybody from the very beginning knows, holy shit, anything can happen.
Sure.
And then you just keep going and make it more and more out of bounds. I did that with this street. I tried to set it up in the first paragraph that this was not. I tried to get the feel of the entire story in the first damn paragraph, how Oscar was going to talk and the kinds of things he would say from the first paragraph so that it doesn't come out as a shock when we start talking about other things. And that sets it up. And that means people are going, okay, this is going to be a satire farce. I'm prepared for this. And then they find out they're not.
Sure.
But yeah, and that's how you do that. If you're going to write that kind of book, you want to try and set that up at the beginning. And
the Happy Time Murders. You saw the trailer, you know what's in scope for this story.
Yeah, that's why they made the trailer show certain scenes is to let parents know, yeah, we're serious.
Don't make the Deadpool mistake. Yeah, don't show up with your kids.
Don't do what Deadpool told you not to do. Yeah, I think that's why the trailer was so obviously explicit. Was for that very reason. So
Deadpool's actually a great example of that as well, because it was different than every other superhero movie, and you pretty much knew that going in. Even if you didn't know who Deadpool was, seeing any of the trailers let you know what you were going to be getting.
But yeah, the trailers let you know that this was going to be kind of dark and probably very wrong. And that's what you want to set up. That's what you want to set up. It makes things very interesting when you can do that. Now, we're talking about this. Okay, first of all, before we go any further, what set this off?
I don't know that anything did. It just came up as part of the conversation we were having, and I can't remember what sparked this. I just wrote it down so that I would have a list of something that would make a good show topic.
Okay, because somebody on Facebook, and I apologize, I don't have it in front of me, and I don't want to go look for it at the moment. But somebody added a comment about kind of adding on to, I think it was our arc conversation actually. So that's why when you said this, I was wondering if that was in response to this.
It's entirely
This was
possible.
in response to that.
I can't recall what spawned it, but I remember that it happened while we were recording.
Yeah,
because I made a note about it while we were recording that this would be a good show topic.
Okay, maybe we didn't cover it in full. Anyway, regardless of that, sorry, old man. The arcs. We talked about what scenes can't be in an arc. I think was what somebody asked. Somebody asked about that. What scenes can't be in an arc?
I don't know that they did ask that, but that's a great question.
It was something like that. Story beats. I don't remember. I'll have to go look for it. God damn it. Anyway, one thing I want to make sure of that we're not mixing up is this goes back to the whole genre mashup and what characters do. You can have romance in your horror book. You can have horror in your romance book.
Yes.
You can have those elements and it not be one-sided and not jerk the reader out of things. You can do that. It's
the sudden course change.
It's the sudden course change that is the issue.
But while those are sudden course change issues there. But you can, if you're telling a space opera, introducing fantasy elements late in the game, or even at all, maybe you're writing Star Wars is fine because you've got the fantasy elements there. But whatever world setting you set up in the beginning, that those first few chapters, it sets the stage for the story that can proceed afterwards.
Right.
Once you have the walls, you can't go through those walls without having the reader go, "What just happened here?"
Yeah. You have to leave some evidence that things are going to kind of go crazy. Alien kind of had that feel to it. You just knew just from the title of the book, the way they presented it in the trailers and everything else, you kind of knew what it was about.
The back copy, or in the case of a movie, a trailer, can definitely clue the reader in on what they're going to get. And it should.
And
you should make clear what kind of book you're looking at. You don't want to do a bait and switch on someone.
Right.
If you've got romance elements and horror elements in there, don't just use the romance elements because you're going to have some very unhappy romance readers if that's the case.
I think it was Jake Bible who suggested to me of putting in the movie titles at the back of the book. For fans of the Blob, Alien, and what did I say, Event Horizon? I can't remember. But that was the pitch for Derelict, and the black was Alien, Blob, and The Thing. And I think that worked a lot because people saw that and went, "Oh, okay, I get that." And of course, on the cover of the book, you've got the tentacle, and everybody thinks tentacle, and that's brains off to the races.
There's a good example of how you can do this sort of thing and still, mix and match these elements. If you look at the Disney production of The Black Hole, have you seen that movie? It's been years. Black Hole.
I saw it relatively recently. It's been in the last 3 or 4 years, I think.
It is sort of, kind of, maybe pitched a little bit towards kids, but it has horror elements.
Pitched a little bit toward kids. It is very pitched toward kids, but
it has horror elements in it.
Right, and it doesn't talk down enough to make it a kids movie.
Mm-hmm. The fact that you discover partway through the movie, spoiler alert, this movie's been out forever, but I'm going to tell you anyway, that these faceless robots are actually the crew of this spaceship that the guy has taken over. That's horrific.
Yeah, they've all been lobotomized.
Terrible. They've all been lobotomized. And that's, if you stop enjoying the movie and think about it, you're like, how could they put that in a kid's movie? It works, though, because the elements were all there from the beginning.
Sure. Absolutely. It was from the very beginning. You had the dark music, the suspenseful music, the whole 9 yards. It sets the tone. It sets the stage. And so that's what you expect. You expect those currents to be there for the rest of
that was in bounds for that story.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're telling Spaceballs, you probably are not going to have Alien in there in the same dark way.
Not in the same dark way. No, it'll be handled ironically or Mel Brooksingly.
Yes.
It was handled Mel Brooksingly.
That should be a word.
I'm betting it will be. You know, I bet this is gonna be a side. I bet after he dies, there's gonna be like a resurgence of the crazy kind of shit that he used to do. And that he did in the 70s.
Wacky stuff.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely shit bat bonkers. But the thing was, it was good. So anyway,
Benny Hill, holy mac.
Oh yeah. Oh. What the hell was he on? Anyway,
sorry for that trip down memory lane.
Sorry for that. But I can totally see it being a Mel Brooksingly production. Or how is this? This is very Mel Brooksingly.
Brooksianly.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
That no was that. Whatever.
Whatever.
Mixing and matching is yeah. Try and keep this story a little bit consistent in the tone. You can go off rails every now and then. You can have funny things happen. You can have a character doing something really stupid, knowing something very, very bad is about to happen to them, and get away with it.
Has that ever happened in the Black?
No, I have never done anything like that to try and make a humorous moment.
He's busy nodding while he says he's never done that. For all of our audio listeners.
Oh yeah, I forget about those folks. That's actually really good points where you can kind of drop some of the tension. I mean, the reader knows what's going to happen, or the viewer, they know what's going to happen. And sometimes it's fun to clue them in what's going on behind the person who the narrator's head is in. That is a lot of fun too. Where, you know, the boiling water covered this, you know, the pattering noise of the talons scraping across the floor. So Terry's having a shit fit over there.
I'm just covering my eyes because it's been one of those moments where I've had another evil idea to pass along to you.
Oh, God damn it.
You can have somebody.
Here we go.
You can have somebody, you know, cooking when the Black's coming up there and he's watching Julia Childs. And while he's being eaten, you can have dialogue from the Julia Childs. And we'll add a little splash of wine. The overlay while he's being munched up. Screams Julia Child. Screams Julia Child.
Yes, you could do that. But that would be too 80s slasher for me. Thank you very much. So unless I was writing an 80s slasher ripoff on purpose and just went to town on it, which at some point I really need to do. But
nostalgia has its place.
Well, it's not even nostalgia. I want to make a camp horror novel. I want to do a camp horror novel. I just have not figured out what the thing is and how far to go in lampooning myself.
Well, look at
but
this.
It'd be fun.
You could let's look at Night of the Living Dead. All right. It starts off as a horror franchise. It starts off as a horror franchise.
Yeah.
And somewhere in there, it becomes a comedy.
I'm not the second one.
I'm not quite sure why they decided to make that change. But if you watch the first one and went to the second one and going, yeah, horror movie, you would be like my friends that dragged me off to see Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah.
And I did not want to go because I knew it was going to be a horror movie. And they wanted to drag me because they knew it was going to be a horror movie. The movie ended. I was elated. I had a wonderful time. Everyone else was pissed off.
They felt bait and switched.
Yeah, pretty much.
If they knew what the Evil Dead was, they would not have been surprised.
Apparently, we'll see. I knew enough to know it was horror. I can't tell you beyond that because I didn't see the second one. I don't know that I even really saw the first one.
Mm. Well, anyway, the first one tried to be a real horror movie, and it had horrible moments. I understood what he was trying to do. It just didn't quite come off, but still, it's an iconic movie for some of the things that it did at the time. But the second one, they went full camp. And that's where Bruce really got his shtick, was in the second one.
This is my boomstick.
Yeah, this is my boomstick. That was the third one. So basically,
the other one, yeah.
Yeah, so everything kind of piles up on itself. With the
Listen up, you primitive screwheads.
Yeah. With the living dead. What'd you say it was called? Night of the Living Dead. There we go. He did not properly protect the rights on that thing. And so people were allowed to rip it off everywhere, use the title, do anything. And then he got barred, I think, from using the title. I can't remember. It's a disaster area, the rights thing, because it wasn't handled correctly in the first place.
The rules have changed on that sort of thing.
Right. But they have now.
It didn't help him then, but the rules have changed. So that kind of thing. That would not have happened these days.
Correct. Totally different animal, but now that's why everything is so screwed up. And yes, somebody had an idea to make a teenage camp movie, turn it into. And I think partially though, Terry, that's because the movie was so old and we all saw it on the Saturday cinema that it became this comic meme of crazy. They're coming for you, Barbara. And that I think everybody remembers that line who's seen the movie. So I think that's why they chose to make it campy as shit, is because in retrospect, when you look at it now, it is pretty campy. It's not trying to be. It just is. It has campy moments.
This is the age of reboots. I'm looking for the reboot of it now, any day now.
The reboot of the reboot? Dude, there's been like 4 of them.
Well, there needs to be another one because obviously there's nothing new under the sun. So some production company needs to reboot it.
God, no, please, no. Make something new. Go buy the Black.
That's totally. They should. They should
go
totally
buy Derelict. Go buy Empire of Bones.
They totally should, but they're not going to.
I mean, there's 9 fucking seasons right there. And it's a series designed to never end.
George R.R. Martin doesn't need all that money. Just spread some of that around.
Oh, God. Ugh. Yeah, Brent was telling me.
He hasn't even finished that last book.
Brent told me this last season is only 6 episodes, but each of them is over an hour.
I don't know about anything about the time, but I know that there's 6 episodes.
Yeah, something like that to wrap it up.
You know what, really caused some outrage when this season premiered? DirecTV inadvertently streamed the first episode like 3 hours before HBO.
Oh, whoops.
People's hair on fire, running around. Woo!
That's because there was a legal infringement when they did that.
Or somebody made a mistake. I really didn't look into it. I don't know what happened.
Somebody hit the wrong button.
A technical error of some kind.
Sure, it was a technical error because that's basically breach of contract right there.
For something as important as Game of Thrones? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm sure the lawyers are going to be like, well, you could pay us a $500,000 fine or... and with the clause that next time it will be 10 million, or you can, we can sue you. Yeah.
I'm not sure who owns DirecTV. HBO, for all I know, may own DirecTV.
AT&T.
I'll sue AT&T. Who knows? Who cares about those guys?
At least I think that's who they bought. They bought somebody in the satellite game. I think it's DirecTV.
All of this. Pretty soon it's going to be Taco Bell owns everything.
Dude, Christ. Don't even get me started on that bullshit.
Well, that came out of a movie too.
Of course it did.
With Stallone in it.
Talk about things you should not do in a movie. That's a movie that I think people did not know how campy it was going to be, and it was like beyond camp.
What was the name of it? I've totally forgotten.
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. Wesley Snipes and Stallone.
And I'm pretty sure the only reason they called it that was so they could use that goddamn Police song.
Maybe. I think the funniest moment in that is the whole 3 seashells business that they didn't bother explaining.
Yeah. That's what you use to wipe your ass with, yeah.
No, that's why he cussed and got the little ticket fine thing so he could wipe his butt.
Yeah, he kept cursing so he'd get more tickets.
Exactly.
You have been charged once credit or whatever. Yeah. Fuck you. God damn it. Yeah, it was good. There were some moments in that movie, but that was a movie where you got the feel from when it started that this was going to be some campy, crazy, over the top shit. And it was.
It was. They totally need to reboot Snake Plissken.
They're trying.
Escape from somewhere else, goddammit.
I think they're remaking Escape from New York, or maybe they already did.
I think you may be right. I think I did hear something about that.
Yeah, I think they're remaking it.
Oh man, this is awful. Everything is being remade.
Yeah, I know. It's like, God damn it, man.
When you get to be a certain age, you'll talk about all the movies you loved, and if the audience is young enough, they'll be thinking about a completely different set of movies with the same titles.
Yeah, it's going to be awkward. Don't you remember when that part when Leia shagged Han Solo for like 30 minutes? No. No. And R2-D2 was sponsored by Fredericks of Hollywood. He also had all sorts of attachments. No.
Ooh. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, Lucas. Oh, it's Disney. Fuck. Hey, I'm screwed. Disney's gonna be like, oh, so thought that was funny, huh?
We, of course, appreciate our Disney overlords and beg their forgiveness.
Fuck them. God, I know where that mouse has been. Anyway, so
speaking of Disney, this is a little bit of an aside.
Oh, gee. How do we get on a side?
The end of last year, Fox 21 Television optioned the rights to do Dresden Files TV again. And now Disney, of course, has got that. So there's another Dresden Files in the works for those of you that are interested.
Did you ever watch the TV show?
I did. I watched it.
I think we did talk about this a year or two, maybe 3-4 years ago.
It was interesting for what it was. It wasn't really the same character and set of circumstances as was going on in the books, but it was a bit campier in my opinion, but it was okay. I liked it.
It had campy moments, but it was supposed to. And if you go back and you read Dresden and you think
he's got his campy moments.
There's campy moments in there too.
Sure. But,
several.
it was okay for what it was. I didn't mind it. I was sad when it was canceled. How about that?
Yeah, I was horrified when I heard they were making it, and then they made it, and I watched. I didn't see it till it was canceled. But yeah, I didn't think it was so bad that it deserved to be yanked like that. But they could have done a better job.
It was canceled because you didn't watch it when it was going on.
Well, I don't have TV, so it was kind of difficult to watch. Anyway, the only streaming. No cable for me. Thank Christ. Anyway, what was I going to say?
I have no idea.
If they do it right with Dresden and it's done, if they do it adult and it's not for kids, if they don't go PG-13 and they scrape up against an R, which is basically what Dresden is, it doesn't drift too far into R territory, but it strays occasionally.
I totally don't see that, but sure.
I'm talking about violence, not depending on how
cartoony violence against fake monsters isn't quite the same thing as violence against people. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, look at you got to look at things like I don't know, any action movie ever made in the 80s. People are getting blown up all over the place and filled with bullet holes. It's not that bad.
Lethal Weapon R.
Was Lethal Weapon an R-rated movie? I find that shocking because it didn't really feel like an R-rated movie to me.
No, but it was. I'm pretty goddamn sure it was. Now Terry's going to go check.
I'm not. I was not.
I'm pretty damn sure it was, and also a lot of the movies Schwarzenegger made were R-rated. R-rated action films.
I totally do not get this. Apparently, what was R-rated is not what I think of as R-rated anymore.
No, things have changed just a tad. But there were movies with horrendous body counts where they didn't get an R rating, too.
John Wick.
Oh God! Well, I haven't seen it, so.
Well, I'm wondering now what rating it was. I bet you.
I think it's R.
I think it was PG-13.
Oh, come on! PG-13 movies are actually.
Nope, it's an R. It's an R.
Yeah, PG-13 movies, if you think about it, are actually a difficult marketing problem. I think. With our generation, because of what PG-13 meant at the time and how we were poo-pooing it, but I think now it's a little bit that's kind of like a young adult.
Yeah, I could buy that.
PG-13 is young adult.
Have you ever seen Veronica Mars?
Yes.
They are coming out on Hulu with 8 episodes of a new go at it. I'm looking forward to that, and it'll be interesting to see what rating that has, but If you haven't seen the first season of the original Veronica Mars, treat yourselves, viewers, because you'll like it.
Lies and slander. I think if they reboot Harry and capture the grim darkishness that pops up every now and then, I think it will work just fine. And you can have him wearing the expensive trench coat and doing all the other stupid shit. And now they can afford the special effects to make it go anywhere. The Magicians is proof of that. And that show's not exactly high budget.
No.
And they do really creepy stuff. And I think Dresden with a budget behind it that Disney might give it, there's no reason why they can't make that into a hell of a series.
I hope they do.
It'd be kind of nice. I'd love to see that for Butcher, for them to do it right. It'd be really cool. Would also sell a fuck ton of books for him. Which ain't bad. It's not a bad thing.
Take what you can get, man.
Yeah, no shit. Talk about PR bump. Yeah, you get your rights back for something like Dresden and then you go crazy. Oh, yeah.
His life's been kind of up in the air the last couple of years. So I'm hoping that he gets back to doing it because we've been waiting a long time for that next Harry book.
Like I said before, I'm so far behind on Dresden, it's ridiculous.
Don't worry, nothing happens.
Yeah. Last time I remember he got shot and I was like, oh, fuck. He's like, God damn it. Threw the book away. So I haven't picked up a Dresden since.
Work your way through it. Because you have to understand how things are going to change afterwards, because it does. It changes a lot of things.
So here's a question. How much sex can you put in a book before it strays into erotica territory?
How much graphic sex
is
what you mean.
Let's go with that. How much graphic sex?
Because regular romance can have all kinds of hot, smoky sex in there, and it still not be into erotica.
Right.
I think that you start straying into erotica when the purpose is to elicit that type of reaction. If it's to make somebody all horny and whatnot, then you're probably straying right across that line.
Well, I was wondering, did you ever read the Eric Van Lispater books, the Ninja series?
I don't know that I did.
He was like a more grown-up, better writer than what's his name for the Destroyer. It was kind of like the Destroyer, except, like I said, much better written. No camp in it. I think the first book is called The Ninja. And it took up a lot of, racial questions about what it means to be Sino-American and all this other kind of stuff, and the confusion that came after World War II. It was a very interesting book. And like I said, it was well done. But he has some graphic sex scenes in all of his books. Every single one of them. Pretty damn graphic. Not violent, but graphic.
I haven't found it on here. I was looking for a particular fantasy series that the author went just nuts with sex. It was mainstream fantasy novels, urban fantasy, with tons of threesome and graphic sex in it. And you're like, what? Where did this come from? Apparently the readers liked it, but it was definitely a shock the first time I ran across that.
Yeah, I see that. And again, that line, I don't quite understand it, but I guess it's basically if the story is mainly after the sex part and nothing else, then it's erotica. I don't know. I guess if you hold up the book and half of it's sex scenes, it's probably erotica. Probably. Or 3/4. What do you think, Terry?
I don't know. I'm not going to put an amount on it as far as that goes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't understand. Somebody can help us out with that. We appreciate it. What is the line? Because I don't know. I don't know what the fucking line is.
I pretty much stick away from writing sex at all at this point. There's just no need for what I do in the type of series that I write. I can close the door.
Yeah, and that's pretty much how I've handled it too, except the Garaga series where and Tony Down stuff when I start writing it, that's those sex scenes have a purpose. So they're going to be there though. They have to. You can't have a book about, incubi and succubi without sex. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be there. So I just, again, do not know where the line is, but it'll be there. But I don't think it'll be erotica because that won't be the main part of the story. But it has impact. So I guess that's the difference. But no, none of the stuff that you've written has any real part of any of that.
No sexy time in there. No.
I mean, it's not even really.
There are some places where I've closed the door, where things like that were going to happen.
I usually get up to the point where they're gonna get it on, and then I stop. I pull away the camera. So, and that works because it's not necessary to show that.
Now, maybe I should write a few of those scenes for the patrons.
You might. It might very well.
I probably won't.
You probably won't. So, you can do that. You can have those kinds of scenes in there in a horror book, action movie, suspense, whatever, and have it work. It just has to be done, I think, deftly handled. But if you're not comfortable and of writing those scenes, don't pull back the camera.
I had a memory on this, and the writer is Laurel K. Hamilton, and this was her Mary Gentry series that had tons of sex and threesomes and BDSM in it.
Wow, even BDSM?
I believe so, yes.
I've never read anything by her, but I know her name.
But it was not what I was expecting from a traditionally published author in urban fantasy to find those in the bookstore, because the sex scenes were very detailed, very graphic, and it was erotica. It really was.
Maybe that's what she was going for.
I couldn't tell you.
Oh man.
It's obviously popular enough.
Yeah. I'll you were talking about shit that's out of bounds. Alien. You stop in the middle so Ripley and the captain can have sex. No. No.
Oh, I'm having the time of my life. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No.
No sex to Love Boat kind of music.
No, the Love Boat. The alien.
If you're writing the Love Boat, you can't actually have anybody murdered. I'm sorry.
Xenomorph boat.
That is right outside the bounds.
Soon we'll be eating your skull alive.
Of course, you could probably get away with it on Fantasy Island.
Oh God, Brent was telling me that Peter Dinklage is doing some biopic about Herb whatever his name was.
There was already a movie about him.
Okay.
I thought it had already come out. I didn't see it.
Okay. Maybe it did. I hadn't heard about it. Typecasting. That's all I can say. Typecasting.
And I'm not finding it here right away, but I know that there was something done.
Okay. Yeah. You don't know what we're talking about, go look at the original Fantasy Island. I'm sure you can find it on Hulu or somewhere. I don't even remember that. The
My dear guests, welcome to Fantasy Island.
That one didn't have any words, right? It was just music.
For which, the intro?
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
I think so. I think Ricardo Montalban had like a little narration at the beginning, but I think it was just music after that, as opposed to the Love Boat.
Somebody had been talking, and we're wandering off course here again.
Gee, I'm shocked.
But had talked about watching the new, oh God, I have forgotten it. The one that had Tom Selleck in it.
Magnum PI.
Yeah. The new Magnum PI that they were doing. I watched a couple of episodes at the start of their season, but some writers that I know had said, maybe you want to go back and look at that and watch it and look at how they build teams and how the characters all interface together, because it's an interesting and successful way to tell a story. And I was like, maybe I should go back and watch it again, because I stopped watching it because it wasn't as good as other things. It wasn't as bad as the Hawaii Five-0 remake, in my personal opinion.
Is that still on?
It is. It's still on. And I'm afraid that I'm one of those guys that I watched Jack Lord in the original Hawaii Five-0, and I just can't make the jump to the cheesy crap that they're putting out as Hawaii Five-0 now.
I can't stand any Star Trek captain but Shatner.
It really goes to show that older television shows remade for today's audience, it shows that today's audience has significantly different tastes than the people that watched the ones in the old day.
Well, shit, yes. Absolutely. But the whole reason they're doing that is they're trying to appeal to us old fuckers with the nostalgia piece and try and grab in the new folks with what makes sense to whatever, focus group they're trying to drag in. We're the afterthought most of the time. So it is what it is. It's just almost impossible to recapture that, what worked, and try and remake it. It's very difficult because you have to work with the cast you have. And you have a cast of characters in your stories and in your books, and you're stuck with what they are. You can't just introduce new characters willy-nilly and have that work and have them provide the significant firepower to the conclusion without setting that up somewhere else. It just will not work. It'll be jarring and everybody be like, wait a minute. You can't do that. Unless you can. We'll see. Anyway, what do you think about this train wreck? Are we about done?
I think that we have finished wandering all over this topic from one end to the other out of bounds.
I am personally beginning to think that this, I don't know what to think of this show. I don't know what to think of it. How do we get to this mess? All right, so you're gone next week.
I am gone next week. I'll be in Napa Valley.
So I have to get us a special guest.
You said you already had one.
I have one in mind.
What is with you? You've had all this time. Now you're going to send them a note saying, I'd like you to come on the show. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm busy getting a dental cleaning that week.
Probably. And it'll just be me. I'll just sit here and, talk for the hell of it. Nobody will.
I think if it's going to be you should do an interview of all the characters in the street.
Oh my God.
You could ask them questions and then answer in their voices.
Oh my God. That would just be horrendous. No. I'm still recording Evolution and I can't torture my voice that much.
But the idea appeals to you.
Well, I would love to write like a 7,000 or 10,000 word interview with Oscar. I think that would just be fucking brilliant. But no. What? Do you want to get sued? No, they don't want to get sued. They don't want to. Anyway.
So, folks, if you would like to send us a note about staying within the bounds or coloring within the lines, however you want to phrase it, for any of this episode, go ahead and send us a note at show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can find Paul on Twitter at Paul_E_Cooley. You can find us on Facebook at the Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group. We have the audio for this available because of the good folks at podhoster.com. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast. And of course, if you are a patron, you can support us on patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get exclusive content and hear and see things that human beings should not be allowed to see.
I think we're already providing that quote unquote service.
And one of the perks of that is if you're a $10 patron, is to have your name read on the show. Paul, let's see how they're going to mangle your palate this time around.
Oh my Lord! At this time, our $10 patrons are Andrew Smallwood, J.D. Barker, Veronica Jaguar, the Secret World Chronicle podcast, Jack F. Rambling Rousters Rarely Refined Recitations Erickson. Kelson Radioactive Tree Octopuses. Did we discuss that?
If not, we should.
Isabel Cushy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, Nathan Cosby, Cheryl Winters, Tracy Bodine, Devin Lee, Drew, oops, they all died, Bernardi. We did have that conversation last week. Chris Winder, Andre Conde Moraes, DJ Chamberlain, and J.R. Handley. Thank you.
Thanks for your support, folks. You make it what we do possible.
Yes, and that's probably some kind of crime. Anyway, Terry, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'll try not to send too many selfies, from this and torture you.
Dude, I do not want to see you dressed up as Bacchus. Okay, I do not want to see this.
Well, now I'm going to have to make that happen.
Oh my God, the internet will explode. The memes. David Wood, make Terry into Bacchus. Go ahead.
Bacchus to the future.
Do it. Bacchus to the future. All right, we're out of here. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.